Hello, it's Natalie Zangon, also known as Mother Goose, Raw and Real. So today we're getting ready as for the holiday of Yom Kippur coming up, and I wanted to do an audio video regarding the importance of self-love and self-respect and the standard we set for ourselves. As we're approaching Yom Kippur, trying to, we're starting the new year, and God is going to decide how the rest of the year will be for us. We should never forget that self love, self respect, and self acceptance starts within us. This is nothing that you could put on other people. As long as you make other people responsible and in charge of what happens to you, then you're also always going to be on the passenger side of your own life. You need to learn to put the standards for yourself. What things are boundary crossings, what things are not acceptable to you, what things don't feel right for you, what things hurts for you. And if you were not brought up in a home where these were taught to you, it's never too late to learn. Because unless you learn better of where your standards are and where you're holding, you are going to repeat the pattern of what you saw growing up and considered as being normal. Self respect and self appreciation and self acceptance starts from how I value myself. If I have value for myself, then I put a limit of what I will tolerate and what I will not tolerate. This is not something that someone else can do for me. If I always keep waiting for others to do it for me, I will always be on the back seat. Someone is going to be driving my life. I need to come to a place of saying this is not acceptable. Being spoken to in a rude tone of voice, being spoken to in a harsh tone of voice, being put down, being hurt, being upset, being disrespected. And sometimes you don't even know you are being disrespected. Why? Because it could be that that was the dynamic you might have seen at home between your parents or between your family members or between your siblings. So the way you find out is by educating yourself. What's the word? Healthy. When you have free time, you go on YouTube, you put healthy relationship, healthy argument resolving, healthy conflict resolution, healthy parenting, healthy relationship. Healthy is not just about what you eat, what you look like, what your weight is. Healthy is also about healthy emotional interaction and socializing. Many people do not know that what they saw growing up might have been unhealthy because they don't know better. What you see at home becomes your blueprint and your file for life of what is accepted, what is not, what is okay, what is not, what do you tolerate and what don't you. And unless you educate yourself, you'll never know. Let's say a child that's brought up in a home that the parents have never heard of sunscreen. So every time they go to the beach, they come back and the kids know after the beach you're going to get burned because the sun is very bright. So they're just going to learn how to deal with the burn aftermath. Unless one day someone tells them, do you know there is this thing, it's called the sunscreen, and it could protect you against the sun, or they hear it from a friend, or they see it somewhere, or then they say, oh my God, this is perfect. If I put this on, I'm no longer going to burn. That is the same thing with conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, and emotional interaction. Unless you learn what else is there or how else you're going to deal with it, all you're going to build is defenses towards the trauma you've seen growing up. Your nervous system tells you, your nervous system gives you feelings and different sensation, but if nobody helps you to put a name to it, if nobody helps you to know what to do with it, if nobody helps you to have consequences, then you won't know any other way of dealing with it unless you educate yourself. Education starts with you. Dealing with things starts with you. You need to become responsible for your behaviors, for your emotions, for your reactions, because you are in charge of this body. Once you are born, if you're lucky, your parents let you cope and deal with it. But sometimes parents themselves don't know how to deal with it. I had an incident that took place with one of my kids. I was like going through a lot. There was a lot on my mind, and my 6-year-old daughter looked at me and said, "Mommy, are you okay? You look like you're sad." And at the same time, I had a friend of mine that was also in the living room that's much older than her. So I was going on and talking about their day and whatever, but had no recollection, no idea, no recognition of what my facial face is saying because they were never taught. And I said to myself, how profound is this that here she is at such a young age, because we always talk about look at the person, see how they're feeling. What do you think they're feeling? What do you think you could do about it? How to have empathy and remorse. But some other people, they could be much, much older than her, were never taught. And if you were not taught, you don't know how to offer it. So even when it comes with affection and love and attention, if you were never taught, and if you don't have a file, if you don't have a cabinet to know what to do with that, you won't know what that is. And instead, you might get defensive. Instead, you might put the other person down. Instead, you might become critical because that's all you learned. So this is something that you need to develop a file for it and learn what to do with it. If you were brought up in a home that touch was not part of it, affection, attention, holding, comforting was never part of it, you don't know how to offer that back. And it will catch up with you. Do you know when? When you get married and have a family. Because you could go through unless you get married into a dysfunctional family and you won't notice it. But a functional family will bring it up to you. You will get impacted. You will have a consequence. So in order for you to develop healthy coping skills, healthy outlook, you need to have awareness of what is happening here. Is this okay where I am? What happens when I'm angry? What happens when I'm sad? What happens when I feel lonely? Are my needs being met? And what are my needs? What are the needs I can have? What am I feeling at the moment? These are things that you need to educate yourself. And every year with Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, God says, slow down and wait. Did you have remorse? Did you ask for forgiveness? What about from yourself? The 26 hours of the fast of Yom Kippur, it's not just to be fasting. It's taking a moment and checking in with all the relationships in our life and seeing where we are holding. An emotional, intimate relationship doesn't just happen. You got to make an effort to make it work. You got to educate yourself. You got to learn. You got to understand to be able to look into someone's eyes and say, how are you doing? What's going on? I'm here with you. Talk to me about your feelings. Talk to me is so essential, so crucial, but it's only going to start with you. Once you have self-love, self-respect, self-acceptance for yourself, for the relationship with God, only then you can offer it to other people and create more functional relationships in your life. Thank you for watching. This is Natalie Zangon.